Hey guys, it's Sarah Baska. I can't remember the last time I did like a sit-down video like this, so this is kind of crazy, but I miss it and I love it. And I love just like sitting down talking to you guys, like you guys are my homies, you guys are my friends. This week's video is gonna be a story time, but it's gonna be a pretty serious story time. And I've been meaning to do a video about this, but I've just been so nervous about filming it and uploading it because this situation is very personal and something that kind of changed me as a person in a really good way, for sure. So as you can tell from the title, this video is gonna be why I stopped smoking the ganj, the 420, the blaze it, the good vibes, the everything that, you know, weed kind of represents in this modern day society. If you guys couldn't tell already, I used to be a pretty huge stoner. I was a stony baloney back in the days. It was chill vibes back then. I loved the benefits of it. It was totally fine. But weed is not for everybody. And a lot of people get shamed for not smoking weed. They're like, oh, you're a loser, you're like a weenie, you don't smoke weed. But it's like, weed does affect everybody differently, so you shouldn't judge people if they don't smoke weed or if they do. Like, what? Who cares? Just don't judge anyone. I stopped smoking weed around December, January, just because I just noticed that I was using that as a crutch for me being sad about things, or me not wanting to deal with my problems, or me wanting like a quick fix of dealing with my emotions. I just really wasn't motivated for anything, really. I just kind of got to a point where nothing excited me anymore. I just kind of felt numb. I just realized that I didn't want to be high all the time. I just wanted to have like a clear mental space. I was feeling motivated again. I was feeling inspired again. And everything was going great until about March, mid-March. Someone really close to me passed away. And that was really hard to go through. So the person who passed away was related to someone that I was really close to, so I was with them a lot and kind of dealing with this death. After that death happened, I just started to really appreciate everybody. I was appreciating everybody besides my family. I was loving on my friends so much, but not my family. And I was being really rude, especially to my mom. And I was also in the transition of moving to LA. I just was so irritated about everything. Just everything that my mom would do, I would get irritated. I would just be so rude to my mom all the time, and it was ridiculous. When my mom is seriously an angel, my mom just dedicated her life to me and my sister. Like, we were her whole world. Growing up, I never really recognized that. I just kind of was like, oh, she's just my mom, you know, whatever. Like, I'm still gonna be rude to you because you'll always be there for me, you know. The worst part is that I wouldn't even realize when I was being rude. It just came out and I wouldn't care. I moved in May, in the middle of May, so it was like around mid-April. I still haven't smoked weed. I'm like kind of dealing with this death low-key, but I'm trying to like get back on my grind, trying to like live life, you know? I got a call from my friend and she was like, hey girl, like, do you want to come to a movie with me? And I was just like, yeah, you know, I would really love to go see a movie with you. Like, I was trying to spend as much time with my friends as possible. It was like a space movie, or it was like gonna be like a trippy movie. And I was like getting ready for the movie and I was like, you know what? I kind of want to like take a hit of weed and just like, you know, go to this space movie because it's gonna be like trippy and I want to like kind of be high for it. Just remember that I hadn't smoked weed in like 5 months. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna like take one hit. I'll just take one hit. I'll be totally fine. And I like get out my bong that I still had, like, packed a bowl, just took one hit. And during that hit, I realized that there was no water in the bong. I was hitting a dry bong. In the middle of hitting it, I was like, shit, like, oh my god, I am going to die. I'm just coughing for like 15 minutes. It was not chill vibes whatsoever. And after that hit, after I was done coughing, I was like sitting down and I like looked up and I was like, everything was like spinning and I was like, I am blazed. and I looked at myself in the mirror. My entire eye was red, no trace of white whatsoever. So I'm like, oh my god. So I like got some eye drops, put some in, and then my friend was like, okay, like I'm almost there. So I go downstairs. I looked at my dad. He was in the living room, which is right next to the door to go out of my house. And I look at my dad, and he's reading this book with his little reading glasses, and he's looking so fresh. And he's reading his book, and he looks up at me, and he gives me like the warmest smile with like the kindest eyes. Where you going, kiddo? He like called me kiddo. And I looked at him, and I was so high out of my mind, and all of a sudden like my heart rate started going up, and I was like, what is happening? Like, why am I anxious? I'm just talking to my dad. I experienced this sensation called derealization, and what that means is I felt super detached from my surroundings, kind of like I was disassociated from like the external world, like nothing was real, kind of. And as he was like waiting for me to respond, feeling all of that around me, I also felt something called depersonalization. I literally like detached myself from my body and like my mental processes. So I kind of detached from my body, and I started to look at myself from his point of view. It was the weirdest sensation I've ever felt in my life, and I felt this crazy generation gap between me and my dad, and I was looking at myself. It was like this young girl, like teenage girl, like thinks she knows everything, you know, like about the world, when she's just so naive, she's so young, and like my dad is so wise and he's so much older and he knows everything, but he's kind of like looking at me like a child, just kind of like, oh, you have so much to learn. You're being super rude to your family when like we've done everything for you. Like, my dad is my dad, who saw me as a baby grow into who I was, and I was looking at myself in like my teenage form, his little baby as like a teenage person. That just increased my heart rate even more. Left the house, and I get into my friend's car, and she noticed right away that something was wrong. We were driving out of my neighborhood, and I was just like, stop the car. Like, my heart was beating so fast and it wouldn't stop, and like the anxiety was getting so bad where I started to feel it like a deep pressure in my chest. And she was like, what's wrong? Like, are you okay? And I've had anxiety attacks before. I just thought it was an anxiety attack, but a really bad one. So I was just like, I don't think I can go. Like, nothing is like working. I'm just trying to meditate right now, but I can't seem to calm myself down. Like, I just need to go back home. And the next morning when I talked to her about it, she said that I sounded like a different person when I was saying all this, and she kind of got worried, so she just turned around, took me home. I got home and I ran inside, and the first thing that I did was run upstairs into my mom's room. And I was like, Mom, I'm having a panic attack, I think. And I've never had a panic attack before. She just got up immediately and she was like, just come downstairs, let's get you some water. So I go downstairs, and my mom and dad were just kind of like sitting at the kitchen, like the bar stools at the kitchen counter, and I'm just chugging water. I'm looking at my parents, and my heart is going even faster because I'm looking at both of them, and also the pressure in my chest got deeper, and it got so deep that it felt like my heart was burning. Like, it was kind of like on fire. It felt like a 400-pound person was sitting on me, just like directly on me. And not only was it pressure, it was like warm. It was like getting hot. I was looking at my mom. I was experiencing something called tunnel vision at this point. At the time, I didn't know it was tunnel vision because I never had a panic attack before, and I didn't know that that was a side effect of a panic attack. So basically, tunnel vision is caused by like your stress and your panic levels rising rapidly. Your body like directs blood flow to crucial parts of your body that need it to like cope with the panic, if that makes sense. Tunnel vision is like when you're looking at an object in front of you and just everything around you just kind of blurs or just like kind of disintegrates, and it only focuses on one person or one object in front of you. It's kind of like your body telling you to like focus on what you need to focus on that's triggering your anxiety, and to eliminate all of your other distractions so you can like deal with whatever you need to focus on without wasting energy. It's like pretty much eliminating everything around you that isn't associated with the panic attack. It was just focusing on mostly my mom. I was looking into my mom's face, and her face was kind of like getting bigger and smaller and bigger and smaller. And then I would look at my dad, and it was more mild, but it was definitely still like kind of just going around him. Like, everything was just blurring around him. Me being in a panicked state of mind, I thought that that meant that everything around me, like my life, was just kind of coming to a close. I was at the the last few moments of my life, and I needed to kind of tell these people how I feel about them before it's too late. Because when you're in a panic attack, you think that you're going to die. In that moment, I thought I was having a heart attack, and so I needed to tell my parents everything. Right away, I just started to hug my mom, and my mom was holding me, and I was crying to her. I was like, Mom, I'm sorry, I don't appreciate you enough. I was being so mean to you, and I just never realized how much you really do for me and how much you have done for me in my entire life, and all the sacrifices you made. I had parents that were there for me, and I had parents that were actively in my life, and I was spoiled in that sense of not realizing that, oh, some people don't have that, and so be appreciative of having loving parents that are there for you, because a lot of people don't have that or never had that growing up. And the death that occurred was a parent of someone close to me, so I was having all this anxiety looking at them, saying you could have died anytime in my life and you haven't. You still could, and I just need to appreciate your existence every day of my life, all the time. I need to appreciate everything about you guys, because you are the reason why I'm alive, After I kind of expressed my gratitude and my love and my appreciation for my parents, I started to go in deeper. And I mean, telling my parents very personal things about me, because I thought I was dying. So I had to literally just lay everything out on the table so they knew everything. And it was still the same, everything was going in and out. My dad is a psychologist, and he deals with people having panic attacks all the time. He works at a jail. He knew that I was having a panic attack episode. So he knew that I was gonna be okay, so he kept just saying Sarah, just take deep breaths. And when I would close my eyes, all of these anxious thoughts would just come to me. You're about to lose everybody you love in your life. Sarah, you weren't appreciative enough for the life you've lived. There were voices in my head almost saying Sarah, any of these people could die at any moment, and you just haven't appreciated them. I would come out of my meditation and be that is not helping me. I was just guys, I know that I'm having a heart attack. I need to go to the hospital. So my mom got in the car and she drove me to the hospital. On my way to the hospital, I started belting out worship music. Music that I grew up singing in the church, and I kept saying to my mom over and over again, Mom, why don't I listen to more Christian music? I love it. It makes me feel whole. And my mom was just driving Sarah, you're gonna be okay, just stop. And I rolled down the window, I stuck my head out, and I was looking up at the stars, and I was just singing worship music to the sky. I was dead set on that I was going up to heaven soon. And I remember I was looking up at the sky, I'm God, I'll see you soon, dude. And my mom is seriously just Sarah, stop, you're gonna be fine, quit saying stuff like that. She said that every 10 seconds I would switch the conversation. So for 10 seconds I would be talking about something, and then I would just switch into a completely different subject. 10 seconds later I would switch again to a different subject. 10 seconds later I would switch again. So I was just trying to get everything out. And she said it was the scariest thing. She said it didn't sound like I was talking. It sounded like somebody else was. And that's what my friend said in the car when I was talking to her. I hope you guys don't think I'm a crazy person. I was just having a crazy panic attack. But basically I was in the hospital, and we walk in. There's a bunch of people sitting in the waiting room. It was filled. And I start talking really loudly and just causing a scene pretty much, and being I'm dying, guys, I'm dying. And I was looking at everybody in the waiting room. I'm you guys, I'm dying, and these are my last few moments on earth. My heart is just gonna explode any second. And I was just yelling this. My mom was just kind of being frantic and she needs a doctor, she needs a doctor. And I seriously was I need a doctor now, I'm having a heart attack, I need to go to the emergency room. So finally a nurse came out, and this was the nurse I used to play volleyball with in high school. She was on my volleyball team. When I was in my body, I knew it was her, but I didn't care. I was still acting, I was still blurting things out, but inside I'm oh, I played volleyball with her. That's awkward, but whatever, I'm still gonna die. It was weird. My volleyball teammate brings me back into this room and I'm sitting there. They just hooked me up to a bunch of wires and stuff, and then I looked at the screen and my heart was going like this. And I remember looking at that and I was like, oh my god, like I'm going to have a heart attack. And then the doctor came in and the doctor was just like, so you're just having a panic attack, huh? He was like, this is normal. And I'm like, but I'm having a heart attack. And you guys are gonna think I'm making this up, but I'm not, I promise. I was laying back and the pressure was so intense that it felt like something was trying to come out of me. In my panicked mind, I thought that it was my soul trying to detach itself from my body. And I was looking at the light. That was like all that like it was focusing on. I was kind of going through like a tunnel vision, and all of a sudden the light turned into like a light beam that was like coming out of my chest. But I thought that my soul was gonna detach from my body and like go up into this light beam and like go up and like go to heaven. I don't know, I was on a different level, yo. And that sensation of something trying to come out was so intense that it literally jerked me forward. It was so jerky that all of the wires got detached from me. The doctor was kind of like, Sarah, like what happened? Like what was that? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what that was. They just attached me to all those wires again. They just like shot something in my leg. Gradually, after a few minutes, I felt my heart rate just like kind of slowing and just getting slower and just more normal. Like every second, like it was just getting slower and slower. My anxious thoughts and everything was just like kind of just going away and going away. And like the pressure in my chest was just like getting lighter and lighter and lighter. And I was breathing in and out. And it was such a nice sensation. I was just laying there and I was like smiling. And I was like, finally, like it's over, it's over. I'm not gonna die, like I'm fine. I looked up and my mom is like at the edge of the hospital bed, just like rubbing my legs, just like rubbing me, and she's like smiling at me. And I was looking at my mom, and I was just like appreciating her in that moment so much. Like she was there for me, just being like, it's okay, Sarah, like everything is okay. And then my mom said something so funny. Like I thought it was just the funniest thing. I was also so high on this like medicine. My mom said something so funny and I just laughed so hard, and me and my mom just had this like crazy moment, like this crazy like connection where we were looking at each other and just like laughing so hard. And it was so funny that like even the doctor and like the nurses were laughing too. They were giggling, so like it was just a room filled with giggles. She said that I sounded like Snoop Dogg. I kept like saying for shizzle or like stuff with like izzle at the end, cracking everybody up after my panic attack. And then I just got home and I just went to bed. I remember waking up the next morning thinking all of that was a dream. I was like, whoa, that was like a crazy dream. Like, what is my subconscious doing up in there, like when I'm sleeping and shit? And I was just like, damn, like what a wild ride, crazy dream. And then I reach for my water on the nightstand, and as I'm reaching for it, I look at my arm and I see my hospital band. And I was just like turning it, like seeing my name, and I was just like, what? Like that was real, like that wasn't a dream. My volleyball teammate was my nurse. I thought that was a dream. In that moment, my mom comes in and she walks in with like a tray of breakfast for me and like some orange juice, and she's like smiling. I then just started to appreciate my parents more. Everything that my parents do for me, I am so appreciative of it. I just see everybody as one. Like everything is kind of connected. The whole universe is connected. We're all equal. No one is above anybody. And I know that's hard to think about because you even look at me as like a higher person in society just because I have more followers. Or you look at Kylie Jenner like on this huge pedestal and she's just like unattainable because she has millions of followers and millions of dollars. And like Beyonce, everything is equal. Like even animals are equal to us. Animals, humans, nature, we're just little specks of dust. And the planet is even a speck of dust. Like if you think about it, like space, we need to realize that and just kind of treat everybody with love and respect, and just know that everybody is going through problems. You just never know what someone else is going through, so just always kind of keep that in mind. Even when you're talking to strangers, like even my parents are going through a lot of stuff, like really hard things that I don't understand, yet when they slightly make me annoyed, I kind of just like, I give them a sassy comment, and now I'm more aware that, okay, take a deep breath and just kind of respond to the situation in a calm manner, because me saying a rude or sassy comment to my parents only hurts them and it doesn't help anything. You never know what someone's going through. You never know if people have a mental illness that they're dealing with. You never know how much anxiety someone could have. A little snarky comment, how much anxiety that could give somebody. So, and I've always been good at treating people how I wanted to be treated, but I've just never really done that with my mom especially. Our moms are everything. Like, our moms were the ones that carried us in their stomachs for 9 months and brought us into this world, saw us as this little thing, and watched us throughout the years just like evolve and turn into the people we are. So you are a part of them. You are their DNA. Literally, someone cut you from your mom's umbilical cord, like you were attached to her. You were one. So like, start to try to put yourself in their perspective and try to realize the love that they have for you, because it's just something that you will never understand unless you have a child. You know, although that panic attack sucked, it just made me appreciate everything that I do have and everyone that's in my life, and even you guys, because you guys are the reason why I'm here and I'm like telling you guys my story.
And since that experience, I just haven't smoked weed since. It just affects me differently now. Yeah, but I don't judge anybody that smokes weed. Like, smoke that ganj, 420, bitch, blaze it.
If you ever had a panic attack or an anxiety attack that was like really scary, or you want to like share your thoughts or inputs on my situation, anything like that, just feel free to comment. I don't want any negative comments, people saying that I over-exaggerated. Like, that was my personal experience, and I would never over-exaggerate a story for like more views or for it to be more entertaining. Like, I'm just not that type of person. I want to know how you guys deal with your anxiety, or like what you guys do when you're having a panic attack or an anxiety attack. Like, what helps you guys? I want to know about you guys, so just let me know in the comments. I love you guys so much. I'm glad that you guys can kind of see this other side of me, because I kind of put myself online as like this crazy bitch that doesn't really like have anything wrong. Be nice to your parents, please. You never know when life can unexpectedly throw you off and just something happens. So just appreciate everyone in your life, especially your parents. Like, after this video is over, go and give your parents a hug, okay? Tell them that you love them. They love you so much, even if you don't think so. Even if they're strict, they just love you. They want the best for you, so. But yeah, I love you guys. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys next week.